And Anne has come to live with Matthew and Marilla Hi everyone, my name is Brittany from Brittany Loves Reading, and today I'm coming to you with my spring TBR. We all know that the seasons can influence our reading. It definitely can influence mine. There's certain books that I just want to read in the fall because they're spooky or they have those cozy fall vibes. And spring has a particular vibe for me too. So I've looked through some of the books that I have on my shelves that I would really love to get to this spring because to me, they have really springy vibes. Like I said, I have 5 that I'd really like to get to. There were definitely more books on my shelves that I could have used and put in this TBR, but I would really like to actually be able to complete this before summer. And I felt like if I made this TBR too large, I would be overwhelming myself with trying to get all these spring reads in. So I've just picked 5. I have a tendency to make these lists and then take a long time to read them, which obviously I can't do with seasons because in a blink of 4 months, it will be summer and it won't be spring anymore. So that's why I kept this list pretty small. But let's jump in and see what 5 books I've decided to put on my spring TBR. So this first book screams spring to me, and I just love this series so much. I've actually read it before, so it's definitely a reread. But I originally read it like as a child. So it's been a really long time since I've read these books. I did read the first book last year, so I will be reading the second book this spring, and that is Anne of Avonlea by L.M. Montgomery. I adore Anne of Green Gables. The way L.M. Montgomery wrote Anne and just Anne's personality and her love for nature, also the descriptions of flowers and nature and the beaches and the valleys of Prince Edward Island are just so beautiful in this series that you need to read this in spring. You just need to read this in spring. It's just meant to be. I live in a province very close to Prince Edward Island, so it's not that far for me to actually go to see the house where L.M. Montgomery wrote the Anne of Green Gables books. There's actually like a house. It's the Anne of Green Gables house. You can go see it. I've been. And that really helps me even like set the scene for these books because it's really just in my mind that I've been to the places that are talked about in these books. So like I said, I'm going to be reading book 2, which is Anne of Avonlea. If you don't know who Anne of Green Gables is in this book, you need to read Anne of Green Gables because it's fantastic. But Anne of Green Gables is an orphan around the age, I think, of 12 when we first meet Anne. And Anne has come to live with Matthew and Marilla Cuthbert. Matthew and Marilla Cuthbert are brother and sister. They own a farm in Prince Edward Island, and Matthew is starting to get older and needs help around the farm. So they have decided to adopt a child that will help Matthew around the farm. They put in a request from Nova Scotia for a child, and the child comes aboard a train from Nova Scotia to Prince Edward Island. Nova Scotia is where I live. And when the child shows up and gets off the train, Matthew is looking for the boy they asked for because they asked for a boy to help as a farmhand around the farm. But what is there is Anne, who is a very precocious 12-year-old with a huge imagination and a huge love for life and a way of looking at the world that is so beautiful and different. And Matthew does not have the heart to tell Anne that she is not what they want. So Matthew takes Anne home, and Marilla is like, this is not what we asked for, you are going back. But Anne quickly worms her way into Marilla's heart and finds a best friend in this town in Diana. And it's just, like I said, the writing of L.M. Montgomery, the personality of Anne, the way descriptions are of nature. I just can't wait to reread Anne of Avonlea this spring. So the next book on this TBR is The Cozy Coffee Shop of Promises by Kelly Hills. This follows Mel. Mel has always wanted to own a coffee shop and is finally set up a tiny coffee shop in Devon. However, the pub owner, Tony, who owns the pub in this small town, has decided to set up a fancy coffee machine in his pub and become competition for Mel's coffee shop. Mel is not worried. She's got this. She's not concerned until her mother decides to come to town. Her mother is always on her about her relationships, and Mel needs a fake fiance to handle this situation. And who better than the local pub owner / coffee competitor, Tony. This is fake dating, which I love. It is a small town, which I also love. I love a small town romance. And also, doesn't this cover just scream spring? Like, this is the most springy cover you could ever see. So this book may not necessarily scream spring to most people, but here where I live, spring pretty much means a lot of rain. A lot of rain. Snow starts to melt, there's flooding. That's spring here. So this book kind of still fits spring vibes for me, and that is The Rain Watcher by Tatiana de Rosnay. This is a family drama / historical novel, and it follows the Melgard family. So Lyndon has lived in the United States and has not been home to Paris for years, but has decided to come home for his father's 70th birthday. The whole family has not been together in a very long time, and basically everybody has descended upon the family home for Paul's birthday. However, the rains will not stop, and the Seine, which is a fairly large river in Paris, starts to flood. So between the family drama and the flood, this family has to come together and kind of overcome their circumstances that are happening around them. I've had my eye on this book for a while. It's been sitting on my shelf for a while, and I really would like to get to it this spring. Also, do you see how gorgeous the rain is on the cover of this? It's like a metallic raindrop on glass. So beautiful. So this book is going on the TBR more for the cover than necessarily for the story, although the story still does fit a spring vibe. Kind of, mostly just because it's in like the English countryside, and for me that kind of makes me feel spring vibes, and I don't know why that is, but here we are. And that is The Secret Keeper by Kate Morton. Again, does that cover not look super springy? That's the only reason it made it on here, was because it looks springy to my eye. This follows Laurel. Laurel, at the age of 16, witnessed a life-altering crime at her home and made her really question her mother. Now, 50 years later, Laurel and her sisters have come home for their mother's 90th birthday. Did I notice that I did like 2 families coming together for parentals' 70th and 90th birthdays until right this minute? No, I did not notice that I had done that. Well, here we are. Anyway, Laurel realizes this is probably the last time, because her mother is starting to age, she is 90, to get to the answers that she wants about what she saw as a teenager, and starts to dig through the house for clues into what happened that day. I love Kate Morton. I read The Clockmaker's Daughter last year, the year before. Not that long ago, within the last year and a half. I absolutely adored The Clockmaker's Daughter. The way Kate Morton can weave together 2 timelines is top tier in my opinion. I'm in the middle of reading Homecoming, which is Kate Morton's newest book coming out in April. And reading that book has reminded me that I need to read more of Kate Morton's works because I love them so much. There's always some sort of mystery and a multiple timeline, and kind of seeing how through the ages the truths of a mystery come forth. Like I said, I'm enjoying the one I'm currently reading, and I really wanted to get another one on a TBR/list somewhere that it was in the forefront of my mind to be picking it up soon. And here we are with The Secret Keeper. The last book going on my spring TBR is The True Love Bookshop. Again, doesn't this just give you like spring vibes with like the flowers and the Bookshop storefront. Very excited to pick this up. This is a romance. It follows Tess, who is a bookshop owner. Tess now owns this lovely bookshop and runs multiple book clubs for the local women of this town out of her bookshop. However, Tess was widowed a few years ago and is starting to now be ready to move on with her love life as well as her life. And enter River. River is an ex-Marine, but also was her husband's best friend. At first, Tess doesn't really want River around because River is a reminder of everything that Tess has lost. But River is persistent in helping Tess in this new life that she's created. And at some point, a romance happens. That's what this book is. This is the third book in a series, and I have not read the first two. However, I believe they're kind of like standalones that just are linked by being in the same town. So I don't think it really matters if I'm reading it out of order. That's what I've surmised by looking into it. If I love this, I may go back and read the first and second. Also, the other ones are other holiday themed. So like I think book 2 is Christmas. So if I am going to go back and read those, I'll probably read them in the seasons that make the most sense. So that's what I'll do if I like this as much as I hope to. And that is the 5 books I hope to get to this spring as part of my spring TBR. What is a book that screams spring to you and that you would hope to read this coming spring? Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.